we do the graphs, we might as well say something about what we're estimating here, TFP. So think of a production function where number of units, t-shirts, number of t-shirts produced by firm I in time period t is dependent on inputs. So how much labor firm I is using in time t. And here we're thinking of a specific form of the production function, the Cobb-Douglas. So it's raised to output elasticity here. So alpha L, but doesn't, that's not important for the overall thrust of the story. What's important is that, how much labor using, how much capital the firm is using determines the output. So here we could say, well, if we take two different firms using the same amount of labor, same amount of capital, they will be producing the same amount of output. But we know back in the real world, different firms have different efficiencies. They're differentially good at making use of the resources. So we can add a term AIT, capturing that some firms seem to be better at combining different inputs to produce output. They produce more for a given amount of inputs. Okay, so we call that productivity or total factor productivity. Okay, so this AI, this is actually something we can estimate. So just to give you the intuition for what's going on here. So say we take the log of QIT, we take the log of everything. We would have the natural log rather, natural log of AIT plus, which we do when we take logs and the exponent moves down, alpha L times log of LIT plus alpha K times L of KIT. Okay, so this is something we can estimate. We observe K, we observe L, we observe Q, at least for some industries or for some types of firms. And we can then estimate A, the total factor productivity, and the alphas, the output elasticities. Okay, but what interests us now is this term, the total factor productivity. So, if this term is high, it's an efficient firm, something that produces a lot of output for given inputs, whereas if it's low, it's a less efficient firm or inefficient. Okay, so we could be interested in how this distribution looks, say, across countries. So we have on the horizontal axis here, we have total factor productivity. And up here, we could first think of the number of firms. So think of a histogram first. Okay, so we have, I don't know, 10 firms in the highest bin. We, place firms with their total factor productivity in different bins, just as if you had a histogram of height. You had a lot of people in the bin in the middle, a few in the bins with the tallest people, another few with the bins with the shorter people, etc. So similarly here, we have some bins where for the firms with the highest total factor productivity, move down, say there are 4 firms here, 10 firms here, etc. And we have more and more bins, and then, we reach some peak, and then gradually we would having bins with fewer firms, and we could think of additional bins like this. Okay, so that's a number of firms in a histogram. We can also think of this as a density. Okay, so like a smooth histogram. Density. So like a smooth histogram. So let's do that in red here. So say something like this. Okay. So this would be we're thinking for one country, call that country tight. We could think of another country where, less efficient firms are able to survive in the market. Okay, so in essence, we're looking here at the total factor productivity, the efficiency of different firms that are present in the market. If you're very efficient, you're likely to do well. Okay, you're likely to be profitable. You're likely to grow, as we discuss in the book. If you're less efficient, you take a lot of inputs, but you get very little output for them, you would be expected to struggle on the market. You're losing market share, and you would be presumably forced to exit in the long run. So we could say, in a market where competition is strong, where weaker firms that are not profitable are forced to exit, the distribution is going to be more condensed like this. It's not going to be a long downward tail, whereas in a country where, in a situation, a market where competition is less strong, we would be able to have a situation more like this, with a long downward tail of low productivity firms being able to stay in the market.